Yeah, uh-oh, did we just lose the whole...
No.
I feel like whenever Thane puts...
It just said cannot recover data.
I feel like whenever Thane puts an SD card in his computer, it always reformats or something. We lost her. Well, then we're just going to go full audio with the rest of this, and I'll go reformat it on my computer.
Hey guys, so it's a bit awkward, but we lost our footage because our SD card decided to go kaput on us. So
Yes.
we're going to be doing this all audio based. And it's not my fault. Like, they just blame me there, but yeah, this whole episode will be audio, so sorry.
I'll give him this little bit in the beginning. So I just filmed you saying a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And then there's Cole, who literally 10 seconds ago just learned of the sadness.
So
Are you sure?
This is 64 gigabytes.
so some of the visual gags you're going to see, like me doing hand
Oh,
signals, is
I haven't used that. I don't think I've opened that. I think we only opened one.
Oh. This is not one of the new ones, though.
Well, that's good.
You got your footage, right? Like, you got it.
Yeah, I got my footage.
Okay, because this effort is basically dead, I think.
Oh, well, okay.
I'll go F with it on my computer after this.
That's
Well-
unfortunate.
Well, there you have it, gamers. That's why we don't have a camera for this. So I guess you're just going to get gameplay of a bunch of random games.
You're going to get some Temple Run footage.
Temple Run!
Should I? Is there a .io of Temple Run? Is this actual size thing?
Stop.
It wasn't me.
You laughed at me. You know, Thane's the only person that I know that is self-conscious about his large cock.
Thane, I think you're the person, like, of all the people I know, you probably have the biggest.
You don't know. I never showed it to you.
I've seen it. You are definitely a shower.
No,
Oh, it gets bigger?
I think. It's more like it's stretched out and narrows. I don't want to talk about it.
We better calm down. This is not the Patreon podcast, guys. We can't be talking about this kind of sussy-wussy material.
Yeah, if you want the Thane Penis podcast, head on over to our Patreon.
If you want his measurements, check out our Patreon and pay $1.
Yeah, it's got its own weather system. It has like a community
It's got its own
currency.
the thing where the gravity
It looks
pulls.
like-
It's got its own gravitational pull.
It's got the Dreamcast menu
Wait.
with the time, the date, and the little.
Yeah, but like, why that?
No, that's what I thought of when you said weather thing. I think it told the weather if you connected to the internet.
Should we do an NFT of your pee-pee?
No,
An NFPP?
do an NFT of the Dreamcast menu. Why
What's
did I say that?
What's the best OG like console menu? You've got like the Dreamcast, the GameCube, the PlayStation 2, the original Xbox. Did the Jaguar have a menu?
I don't know. It was a bad console, anyways.
I think that's it then. For like that era.
Even if it did, I would not say Jaguar.
The three most apparent in my brain, anyway, was the original Xbox, of course, that's what I had. The PS2, because that's what Zay and Brennan had. And then the GameCube had one, did it not?
Looking past nostalgia, I don't think the Xbox or the PlayStation 2's menu is that good.
It's not very detailed.
Nope.
It didn't have much settings.
I think the Dreamcast and the GameCube had really good menus, though.
I
Yeah.
don't really obviously I've never
The
played a
GameCube's, in my
Dreamcast.
opinion, is the best.
Yeah, I remember the GameCube.
As-
What could you find on the GameCube? Could you just
I
see
like
like
the
your
Wii
memory?
menu because it had all your applications.
Well, that's a whole nother step
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
If we're
They
bringing in the
figured it
Wii, then
out.
we're also bringing in like the Xbox 360 menu.
Yeah.
I gotta look up what the GameCube menu looks like now. It's slipping.
It's
my
a cube.
brain.
It's like a transparent cube that you like rotate to.
You're right.
Oh, yeah.
I still gotta look though.
But back then, in order to access those menus to even change the console settings, you actually had to pull out the disc.
Yeah. Yep. Because it would
Oh, yeah.
automatically boot to the disc.
Yeah.
All of them would.
Let's see now. Yeah, I agree. I
Wasn't
think
there
the
a
GameCube
setting
one.
on Xbox 360 where you could boot instantly the game.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I think there's a setting on the Dreamcast and the GameCube that would boot directly to the menu instead of the game. Well, the GameCube was a button combination, but the Dreamcast, I think, actually had a setting to boot
Yeah.
to the menu.
Yeah, on the original Xbox, you just have to not put a disc in.
Yeah, I think the GameCube was like you hold down
Same
the
with the
Z button or
PS2.
something like
I
that.
remember the PS2 opening was.
Well, okay, what's the better sound? You got the PlayStation 2 weird noise. You
Yeah.
got the
The Xbox.
Xbox. You got the GameCube, or you got the Dreamcast.
Dreamcast.
I think the GameCube one's my favorite.
I think the Dreamcast is my favorite.
Yeah, I think I like Dreamcast.
I'm a Dreamcast stan.
There's that
bro.
atmospheric. It's like.
You can see like the.
It's a butthole.
Do you know what it is? Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I like
But
it.
it
Hey, it's not a butthole.
It's
It's
definitely
viral.
I have no nostalgia for
You
that.
saw a Gurren Lagann. It's one of those.
A screw?
We have a Dreamcast controller.
No, it's a swirly.
Yeah, the little logo in
Dreamcast
the
is over
middle.
there.
It is.
Ye.
Yeah, right over there.
It's on top of something, isn't it?
No, yeah, it's on top
Oh,
of
it's
the.
on top of the Xbox.
Yeah.
That's my Dreamcast. That's not my original Dreamcast. I don't know what happened to that thing.
Rip.
I think I've told the story before, like on a video or something, how we got a Dreamcast through eBay. We went to Wilson Bates one day, me and my dad, looking at furniture for some reason. Don't even know why. We were just there. Maybe we were waiting for like our mom or my mom or something. Regardless, we were there, and they had a Dreamcast set up, and Crazy Taxi was playing. Me and my dad both played it and became addicted instantly. And that night we went onto our Windows XP machine in our laundry room and bid on a Dreamcast and won it.
That's cool.
Yep.
I'm just kind of longing for the days when more AAA developers would like really take more risks. Seems like they're playing it too safe these days. Like, we got a shooter with a slightly different mechanic from the previous shooter.
They just need to make more Dreamcast.
Yeah, you remember Dreamcast.
Dreamcast 2, please. Thank you, Sega.
But Sega died. They
They're
tried
not dead.
They tried to
just,
jerk off Sonic, and that didn't work.
They're not dead. They're just scaled down really.
They're
They're more focused on Yakuza and those bread physics. Have you seen the video where he's like, it's just that realistic.
Xenoblade Chronicles could learn a thing or three from
Yeah.
that one.
And Pokemon.
Yeah.
Pokemon doesn't even show you eating the food. Does
That's
it just,
true. It just
cuts?
disappears. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. What's more of a meme? It just disappearing, or Shulk putting it into his mouth and not actually taking a bite out of it?
I think I'd rather have that because it's funny.
It is pretty funny.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, that anime that I finally just finished, the Isekai Uncle one, Uncle from Another World.
Mm-hmm.
His whole thing is like he's obsessed with Sega, and it's so effing funny, especially for me because I grew up playing Sega, so it's extra funny for me. But like, it's just like some of the things he says is just like, I can't wait to finally play this on a Sega console. And like, his nephew's like, yeah, Sega doesn't make consoles anymore. He's like, no. And then he's got this spell that erases his memories. And so as soon as his nephew told him that, he erased the memory.
Yeah. Was he playing Yakuza?
No, not
Aw.
Yakuza.
He should be playing Yakuza.
They were only playing older games
Yeah.
like Nights into Dreams and
Maybe you should.
Sega CD and Sega
That'd be
Saturn
funny
and Dream,
in a later.
what is it called? Genesis.
And like,
Mega
I don't
Drive,
know.
guess.
Is it based off of manga?
Yeah.
It'd be funny later in the manga. It's like, hey, look, like Sega did make a new console. It's just a PlayStation 5, but like with a Sega logo.
He just put a
like-
sticker on it to like hide
Yeah.
it.
Look, it's got the newest Sonic. Sonic games have kind of been dumpy, but look, Yakuza, that's good.
But see, Uncle would never have played a Yakuza game because those didn't come out till after he was
Yeah.
already. Because he got put into his
Yeah.
Isekai world, I think in 1999 or something like that, and he came back out in like 2017, 2018.
Man, I wonder like what him like Sega stands, but like, screw Nintendo. I wonder how they felt in like 2001 when Sega was like, we're not making consoles anymore.
Yeah.
We're making Nintendo be like,
One of the funny aspects of that, because he was put in at 1997 into the fantasy world, is that he didn't really understand the concept of a tsundere because it became popular much more later on. And the main girl, the elf girl, she's a tsundere, and he is just always just like, why is she just mean to me all the time? Like he's like retelling the stories, like she's just mean to me all the time. Like I hate her. I literally hate her because she's just a jerk to me all the time. And the nephew's over here just like, tsundere elf, no. So freaking funny, dude. Oh, I love that. That's a fun anime.
What's funny but also sad is, and I didn't really put two and two together till recently, but one of my students, he came in a couple weeks ago, and he's like, man, I hate this girl. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because she's really mean to me. But then she came up and told me she liked me. Why is she mean, but she likes me? I'm just like, oh, she's a tsundere. They're real. They exist. But I told him, I was like,
just a childish thing. If an actual woman acts like that in real life, you should
probably not want to date her.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking to him, and he's like 11.
Yeah, it's different then.
Yeah, and I was like, sometimes when people like each other, they don't know how to go about expressing their feelings. And he's like, so she punches me? If you want me to like you, you shouldn't punch me.
She's a weeb.
I'm just like, dang, dude.
She might be a weeb.
Could you imagine? She's like, it works in the animes. After 300 chapters, it works eventually. So I mean, I'll try it out.
It's just funny. I mean, it's not funny because this kid she's bullying him, but the bully loves him.
Sounds that sounds like Cindy from Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, probably.
The classic tsundere.
Is that like one of the first American tsunderes?
Probably not.
Oh,
probably
Olga from
Olga.
Helga from Hey
yeah.
Arnold. Yep. Oh man, she's a little bit more yandere almost though sometimes. Not like possessive
She's
style,
a shrine
but
of
like
Arnold.
just like very like assertive.
She plays both sides.
Very much so, yeah.
Apparently in the movie, she finally confessed her feelings to Arnold in the movie they released.
I watched it in
Yeah.
theaters.
I feel like Arnold just doesn't give an F though. He's just
Yeah.
like, whatever. Like,
It was
he's like
in
the most chill
theaters?
guy ever.
It was in theaters. I thought it was just like a TV movie.
Nah, bro, that was like 2002 or 3. I watched with my family in the theaters.
Oh, I'm talking about the Jungle movie that was on TV.
The Jungle movie? What's a Jungle movie?
The Harold Jungle movie, where it's like 20 years later, it's like we're finally making the Jungle movie because it was like canceled at first, and then like for like the nostalgic 20th anniversary, it's like we're bringing it back as a TV
I didn't even
special.
know that.
Yeah,
Never mind.
and it like resolved the series.
Well, that's cool. Good.
Yeah,
Did Arnold hook up with Helga?
yeah, they did apparently.
Good job, Arnold. Good job, Helga.
Yeah, and also Arnold found his parents. It was that long story arc where they're like jungle explorers or something.
Thanks for spoiling it.
I mean, like,
that's in the show.
let's be honest, guy. Like, you can give this one a pass, right? I wouldn't be mad at.
Do we
this
have
one.
a year? I was teasing, by the way. Do we have is there like a year once something is this old you can then spoil it openly?
I feel like it's got to be
Probably.
like 5 years, right?
Yeah.
5 years, then you're allowed to spoil things.
Unless it's something that like people still get pissed off, like, oh, The Last of Us, beep. People like, stop.
Hey,
But that's
we were
because-
playing a remaster that had only been out for like 2 or 3 years at that point.
And then also a TV
that
show.
refreshes the,
No,
the
no,
spoiler
Now
Yeah, I
there's
was
a
gonna
TV
say.
show.
Now we're getting into the
We got a
specifics.
we got a renewal on the spoiler.
Yeah. They renew the spoiler timer. They do it that's why they do remasters.
Dang, maybe that's why Skyrim releases a new one every year, every couple years.
Who's gonna spoil Skyrim?
Yeah.
Oh wow, you become the Skyrist of all the rims.
You
Good
defeat
job.
Alduin.
I don't even know what the freak that is.
That's the main antagonist.
There's an antagonist to Skyrim.
Yeah, he's a dragon.
The dragon at the beginning that like tries to
Yeah,
kill you.
yeah.
He saves you though. You're gonna get your head chopped off. He saves you if anything,
Well, he saves you so he can kill you later.
but he loses.
Yeah.
Unless you're bad
Just
at the
like
game.
What a bad antagonist.
You
Just
could be
like
bad at the
every
game and lose.
villain.
To be
Just-
fair, with Skyrim, the weakest part of that whole game is the
Main story?
The main story. the
I
main narrative.
figured as much.
Yeah, so are a lot of antagonists like, I saved you just so I could kill you and make you stronger, but then they
Give me another
get too
example. I'm
strong.
actually curious.
I don't know. I know there's one, but I can't remember.
Let me think, because now I'm curious.
Well,
too.
I know Goku was like, I want him to get stronger. I want to fight him in his full force. Like, no, Goku, just hit him with a beam right there.
Oh, the freaking samurai show we watched that sucked. He didn't kill Zero. What's his name? Afro. He didn't kill Afro when he was a kid. He's like,
yeah,
come fight me when you're older.
that's true.
But that's a kid.
Yeah,
That's a little different. That's a lot different.
What if you make a kid in Skyrim?
You're not a kid in Skyrim, though. You literally can't make yourself a kid unless you mod it. That's cheating, though.
No, it's just in your head. Like,
Ah.
you make an alien,
That's
make
right.
a lizard,
Okay.
you're like,
Oops,
I'm a
I
kid.
accidentally
I'm
slipped it.
a
Installed the
6-year-old
mod that
kid.
lets me
I'm a
kill
6-year-old
kids.
lizard kid that's being tried and murdered or executed. Why are you even
What if
being
you-
executed in
what
the
if-
beginning? What's the point? What's the reason for that?
Because you're
You're like a bandit or something.
Yeah, and some 6-year-old kid did that, right?
He stole bread.
It was a
gotta
mix.
Cut
It was
their
a
hands off.
It was a mix-up. You weren't supposed to be
They're not
on
cutting
there.
off hands. I played that opening. They're not cutting off hands.
It's pretty much a miscarriage of justice. Pretty much where like you said like, hey, wait, he can't be executed. He's not here. It's like, who cares? Just execute him.
They're like, hey, you're finally awake.
It's pretty
Wake
much
up,
corruption.
samurai.
No,
it's pretty
not
much
that one.
I
corruption
don't
from
know
the
the one you said.
Imperials.
I said, hey, you're finally awake.
Is that Gears of War?
No, it's literally the very beginning of Skyrim.
Oh.
Like it fades in because you're finally awake, and it shows the
Yeah.
title of it.
Oh, you're
Dang it,
finally
you're right.
awake.
Oh, it's so funny. I
Yeah.
love that meme. That was a big meme for a while where anything that fade to black, it'd fade back into Skyrim.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
like,
I know what you're talking about.
There's
yeah.
also the military, the one where these guys are in the military truck. Guy has camera, he pans over, and his friend says, "Oh, you're finally awake."
I love
Yeah.
it. It's so funny when they do that kind of
And
stuff.
then
Makes
also,
me laugh
like,
all the time.
But then it's like it's from a cartoon like, hey, SpongeBob, look at this, Patrick, no, and then oh, you're finally awake. He wakes SpongeBob wakes.
You know
up
what's funny is like I feel like not very often games like Skyrim become so popular that they're integrated into pop culture. Like that.
I got a perfect one where it's like, soap, no soap. It's like Yurinos Makarov. What? It's like, oh, you're finally awake. There you go. That's a good one. You know, from Modern Warfare 3.
Kinda. I didn't finish that one.
You didn't finish Modern Warfare 3?
I got to the last mission, then got
Where
spoiled at school.
Spoilers, Soap dies, and then he punches him down his
I feel
staircase.
like I got to that part. Yeah, I only got to
Yeah.
like the last mission, and then I went to school, and some kid spoiled. I remember the kid too. One of my friends.
Punch him in the face.
Just- still
Justin.
friends
Is
with him?
Justin? No, I'm not friends with him. Is Justin?
What
You
a-
know Justin, right?
What a guy, dude. What
do
a
you know him?
and I know Justin.
Q.
JQ baby.
JQ.
Latin.
Dude, I had a bet.
Yeah.
Dude, my
He spoiled it
friends-
for me.
My friends went to go see Avengers like the midnight, but it was a school night.
Yeah,
so
I've
my
heard this
parents-
one, and they spoiled it to you the
yeah,
next day
they
or something.
spoiled that Coulson dies, which isn't much of a spoiler since
because nobody cares about that
Yeah.
character.
they resurrect him for Agents of Shield.
Is it a spoiler if nobody gives a crap about the spoiler?
I don't know.
Like, let's say I make a movie, and like one of like the there's just a scene when like a couple random people, civilians or something, die, and I go, and then like after like I go watch it, and then I tell somebody, yeah, those civilians died. It was crazy. Is that a spoiler?
I don't know.
I mean, technically it's a spoiler, but if no one cares, it's only a spoiler if the person cares.
So okay, let's try to think of one other than this Avengers one. Give me another popular Marvel movie.
The
with,
the Spider-Man one with
Well,
all
like,
the boys.
Let's do like one that actually people would not care about, because they would care about that
Yeah.
one. How about
Um,
you just be like any superhero movie ever where they win in the end?
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy when Superman won in the end. Whew. Oh, sorry for spoiling it like that. Do you care about that? You mad now?
Yeah, I'm so mad.
Dang it, Sky! Don't be mad.
Dang
Like, you
it.
might do. We'll share a little bit. Make you feel better.
Man, it's
I'm not
crazy.
a
And,
dude.
No
person.
crabs in it.
man, it's crazy in the new Black Panther sequel when
That's good.
his sister becomes Black Panther. Oh wait, they already show that in the promotional posters after
So,
the theatrical.
Let's go back to my initial question. As I guess it wasn't even a question. It was more of I wanted to lead into another train of thought with you, gentlemen.
Okay.
So with Skyrim when it came out, and obviously Skyrim's on the front of my brain because I've been making a video on it for a while, but how often does something like Skyrim come out where it's so popular that it gets integrated into pop culture?
Define integrated into pop culture.
Well, there's tons of memes about it. Like Thane was saying, you had soldiers doing it.
Where-
Lots of people are copying stuff from Skyrim.
I wouldn't say like you can actually
Before
see
the
Skyrim in
release-
pop culture though, other than
Before the release, everyone was
even, like,
doing Full Throw
references.
Daw.
the only like reference maybe was Arrow to the Knee, but I don't know like what references in pop culture that would be shown in. Other than like other nerdy gaming kind of culturing stuff, that would it shows up like that everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like movies and stuff. I don't think they ever did Arrow to the Knee stuff in movies, but I see what you're getting at.
Maybe they did, though. And obviously,
they could have.
Skyrim's not on like the same level as something like Mario or even Sonic. I feel like Sonic's crazy popular. I feel like more people know about those two,
Yeah.
obviously, than Skyrim.
No, I know about Sonic.
Google
Google your name and then the hedgehog. And cringe. Out your mind. Have you guys done that?
You Google Sonic?
No,
you
Google,
type in your name and then you type in the hedgehog
hedgehog.
after that, and then hit enter on Google Images and see what pops up.
Yeah. You gotta do it. My name, deadass appeared in a fan fiction, like correct spelling.
Do I need to incognito this?
No.
There shouldn't be any of that. If you do, that's a whole new level though, and I've never seen
Your
that
name's
one yet.
Sky, and that's a big one.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have a
Yeah.
lot.
I'm doing Skylar the Hedgehog,
I'm sure you'll have a lot.
and I do images.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm hot.
Dang, dude, they made you an Sonic boy. Show us the best one.
Bro, I've got titties in this one.
Whoa, no way.
Wow.
He does have titties in that one. It's crazy.
Oh, look, I'm a wolf now.
With titties.
I'm a wolf with titties.
Let's
I'm a
go.
wolf with titties, ma.
What were we talking? Oh, Skyrim and pop culture. Like when does something get to that point, or what things have gotten to that point? What was the question?
Yeah, just like things that have gotten to that point. Because I think you're right. Like Skyrim, for as popular as it was, I don't think it made like the next level.
I think Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto is
GTA.
probably one of the biggest ones that has gotten to that point.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
To the point where it actually is referenced and shown in
Yeah,
pop
but-
culture, other than
Yeah.
gaming stuff.
Like one I can
It's-
think of was The Other Guys. There's a GTA reference in there.
Yeah.
Heck, they even made Free Guy, the whole movie that's based on Grand Theft Auto.
It's something like that, but
What do you mean something like that? Have you seen the movie?
I mean, it's not.
It's based on Grand Theft
It
Auto.
is based on
Free
Grand Theft
Guy's
Auto.
fun.
What? You can't deny that it's not based
Yeah.
on Grand Theft Auto.
It's yeah. But it's like
You sound not
everything-
convinced.
But the thing is, it's like everything you want to do in Grand Theft Auto, but you go play Grand Theft Auto and you can't do half of that
Well,
stuff.
sure, but it's still based on Grand
Yeah.
Theft Auto.
Also, I've never seen Free Guy.
Oh, I freaking knew it, dude. I freaking knew it.
I've seen the trailers, and
I
I know it's
freaking
like
knew it.
Free
Oh.
Guy's fun. Define what you mean based on Grand Theft Auto, because that game or the movie itself is just a video game.
Yeah, the idea of Free Guy was like, oh, what if we made Grand Theft Auto, but we made it about one of the NPCs in Grand Theft Auto?
It's probably
That's
yeah.
that's the pitch of the movie.
Oh.
I guarantee you, whoever pitched the movie, whether it been freaking Pikachu, what's his name?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Somebody, Ryan Reynolds or something, said, let's make a game about Grand Theft Auto, but the main character is the NPC in Grand Theft Auto. I
that
bet
was,
that was the pitch.
You're
Wait,
very
that was a
confident.
I'm very confident that was
That
the
was
pitch.
an online show too, where it's like citizens of Liberty City, and
Yeah,
it's like just random
Web
people.
show. I didn't watch it, but it was a
Yeah.
show.
No, I mean, I definitely agree
Yeah.
with you. I think if it's not based off of GTA, I'd be shocked because they literally do GTA things inside of the
Yeah.
whole show.
Yeah.
They kill people many times.
There's
All
a
the
portal
time.
gun, too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's also like Saints Row, but the good one, not the reboot.
Saints Row the Third.
Yeah,
That's the one I like.
yeah. Apparently, a lot of people like Saints Row 2 more.
I didn't play that one.
Yeah,
Can't
I didn't
say.
play that. I played a bit of 3 and a bit of 4.
I played all the way through the third one.
Yeah,
And it's not 3, it's the third
the
thing,
third,
okay?
whatever.
Jeez, get it right.
Anyways,
You better not
guys,
be saying 3 over there, Sky.
Anyways, guys, Naruto's coming back.
Wait, hold on. We're
What?
still doing the Skyrim stuff.
Yeah, and I guess
Yeah.
the other Skyrim examples I had, and the reason I said pop culture is like
Or I'll give you a segue later thing.
they've integrated Skyrim on the Alexa, and they had I think it's Keegan-Michael Key. See the bald one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a freaking commercial about Skyrim on the Alexa.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played a little bit of Skyrim on the Alexa. Not for me.
It's just a text-based adventure.
Yeah, not for me.
You ever played Zork on the Call of Duty Black Ops computer terminal?
No, sir.
That was great.
You never did.
I don't think so.
Huh.
Did they have all 3 Zorks or just the
Just
first
the
one?
first Zork.
Yeah, and then later Zork became a point and click.
Yeah.
But see,
Yeah.
like I had more fun doing the AI dungeon simulator. I guess it's the same thing.
No, not
It's
at all.
not? It's
No,
not the
this-
text-based?
Zork is like
No,
they-
not Zork. I'm talking about the AI dungeon simulator.
yeah, text-based adventures. They're like it's not AI generated. It's planned
Oh, okay.
out. They know what they're
Yeah.
doing.
It's all scripted. Like,
It's scripted. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like there's always it's
If
literally
this, then-
Skyrim
yeah.
but in text form.
There-
If this, then that.
Yep.
It gives you
kind
choices.
of stuff. Yeah.
and also there's like several text-based MMOs I've seen, and some of them you still have to pay for, like monthly. It's like, what?
Like the classic text-based RPGs are like it'll say like an information, be like there's a house to your left, there's 4 roads leading away from the house. What do? You type enter the house. You enter the house and you see a kitchen and a living room. Search kitchen for items. You find yourself a knife. It's that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd rather just play with graphics with full
I think it's a cool idea, but
Yeah.
I agree with Thane. I'd rather just have graphics in general.
or have a D&D session with my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious now. I
It's
want to see if
just-
there's any Skyrim pop
That
culture
literally
references.
sounds like D&D, but if you're alone and you have no friends.
If there is, it's gonna be arrow to my knee, I would imagine.
Oh no, Google's giving me 10 pop culture references in Skyrim. I don't know if I can find the other way around.
I think the greatest pop culture what's the word I'm thinking of? The pop culture contribution? Something like that. The greatest contribution to pop culture is big rigs over the road racing.
Explain.
Oh, it's like just a unfinished game that was released and everyone's memed on it. It's like, it's broken, it's bad. Like when I say unfinished, I mean like almost no content.
And how did that influence pop culture?
It's a joke.
Oh, so you were lying to me.
Yes, I'm lying to you.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
can't find anything.
The absolute audacity of this man.
I guess if you
And
want
to
to,
think,
you could,
I was going to give him a segue.
Make
No,
him
you know
pay for
what's-
it now. Make him pay for the
you know
segue.
what's
You want your segue?
Earn it.
You know what's one of the best contributions to pop culture?
No.
No.
You want your segue? Your good
Yeah.
segue?
Yeah.
What are you going to do for it? That's good enough. Okay,
Yeah.
so another interesting thing about pop culture and how like it's kind of become like almost like an icon is actually Naruto, because like a lot of like NBA players will have like Naruto tattoos and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So you'll see a lot of that stuff kind of like
Really?
show up, and
Really?
then-
I think more Dragon Ball Z tattoos, but probably
no,
not.
actually more Naruto stuff.
Actually,
and then like
probably also Naruto and Bleach.
boxers and like fighters and stuff like that will
Yeah.
always do it. Like
Hunter
a lot
Hunter
of them
tattoos,
have
probably.
a lot of Naruto stuff. There's a couple Hunter stuff.
Yeah.
See, I remember the first thing like that I ever saw with NBA specifically was when a basketball player for the Utah Jazz named Andre Karolinko got a World of Warcraft tattoo on his back, and it was huge. And I knew what WoW was at the time, but I was like, whoa, there's people that are famous and they're nerds?
Yeah, and
Henry
so like
Cavill is the hottest
that's
one.
probably one of the most interesting ways it's kind of like integrated into pop culture. Naruto.
Yes,
Oh
Naruto.
my gosh, Thane, I gave it to you and you
Yes.
you started stuttering it.
Oh, come on, man.
He's fingering himself over there trying to get his shadow clones out.
Ready? Fire style,
Okay.
fireball jutsu. I
Yeah.
don't remember how to do it anymore.
That's called hitting the blunt.
It's like, boom, 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 boom. I'm still doing it
Yeah.
wrong. I'm missing a couple hand signs. Can I do the Chidori still? It's like
So anyways,
Chidori. I'm a freaking nerd, dude. Holy freaking.
apparently the Boruto anime is ending at part 1.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
telling you guys about this a little bit ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, no
I don't-
one listens to me, so
Sorry.
that's how it works.
Well,
I understand.
anyways,
I
I
know.
heard it's ending at part 1, and part 2 is gonna be sometime. But apparently, they announced that they're bringing back original Naruto.
I don't think he was there. This was a you and Thick conversation because
Yeah.
I definitely listened to it. Thane was not there.
I'm sure he was in the Discord call.
Yeah, I probably didn't hear it. I
Thane's
was
there, but he's not.
Yeah, I'm not there. I was probably working on my video. Probably.
Yeah, I don't know if they're remaking episodes or if they're just making like 3 or 4 more new episodes.
Yeah, it's kind of vague. Like, what are they gonna? It's like it's got to be filler because there's no.
Yeah, it'd either be filler or remakes, and it's like young Naruto, not like
Yeah.
Shippuden era Naruto.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it looks good.
Oh, it'll look
Um,
great. You saw that 25 or 20th anniversary thing they did the
Yeah.
other day.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's gonna look just as good as that.
Also,
You don't need to watch this series. Just watch that, by the way, guys.
yeah.
If you're actually interested in Naruto, don't even bother. You can just watch that 20.
Yeah.
You get the whole series in that.
No names though. Can't do it.
Yeah, they don't say a word, do they?
Yeah. So I wonder the milking of nostalgia.
Thane with the 10 strokes.
Okay, well, is it milking nostalgia or is it reliving a 20th anniversary celebration?
Yeah. Although
Or
Probably
is it
both.
both,
Jinx.
yeah. I think anniversary events are ways to just milk nostalgia because
And
oh
make
look,
money.
it's back.
And
OG.
and sorry, this is just a great segue into what I wanted to talk about. But we're
The 25th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool, isn't it? I'm excited we're finally talking about Yu-Gi-Oh on the channel. I'm pretty happy. Okay, sorry, Sky, go for it. I'll let you go.
No, I gotta give it back to Thane because
Um,
we're probably gonna go on break and then I'll
Oh,
bring it back.
I love cardboard.
Yeah. Also,
he got that
there's
tattooed
going to be
on him.
Naruto has a popularity poll that they're tallying votes for the best character.
Soccer's
definitively.
number 3.
Really?
I don't know.
Who's your guys' favorite character?
Shikamaru Naru.
I voted for Guy Sensei.
I voted for Shikamaru.
You did.
See, I think Jiraiya's my favorite character. Jiraiya or Naruto?
I voted
I'm a
for him
normie.
twice. I voted for Might Guy twice.
Cheater.
Well, you can do it once a day. They said.
Cheater.
Come on, man.
Cheater.
You should have voted 3 times for Shikamaru then.
Shikamaru has his own book. I'm good.
Okay.
I don't need more if I really wanted it.
Yeah. So the winner of the popularity poll gets a special one shot of them.
I thought it was already done. The poll.
No, it's done, but they haven't revealed the results yet. Now they're doing a bunch of smaller polls like best Naruto fight, character you'd like to be,
Pain.
best chakra.
You want to be Pain?
No. Sorry, my brain computed when he said best fight, and then I sat there and it was da 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 da.
Oh,
da. And then I translated the question. I'm like, oh, I know that answer. And then I said pain.
You want to be Pain?
I voted Naruto versus Sasuke. I know I'm basic.
Which one, Pain?
It had the last one on there.
The last fight?
Yeah.
You mean the not canon fight?
What do you
Too
mean
bad
not
Sasuke
canon?
didn't
Half
die.
of that fight wasn't even in the manga. They added so much extra in the anime that there wasn't in
Still
the
a
manga.
good fight in the manga.
I'm not denying that it
Yeah.
was good nor bad.
Yeah.
I'm just making baseless accusations. Not baseless. I'm just making accusations.
Yeah.
See, if they both died, we wouldn't have gotten Boruto.
True, because they couldn't have had
Yeah.
sex.
Uh,
That's how that works, right? That's how they make babies.
well,
Yeah,
they, well,
yeah.
they had sex with women.
I didn't say who they did it with, did
Okay.
I? Jeez. I wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
No, you weren't.
You
But
guys all assumed something else.
I definitely did because I thought of the meme instantly in my head. Sausage.
Sausage.
Naruto. Well,
All right.
speaking of sausages,
It's a little bit of a break time.
yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
take
We're
a
gonna
sausage
dip our
break.
sausages into our coffee and
Yeah.
take a bite.
What do we call that?
Break time. Stick a fork in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back. I feel like there's a term for dipping a sausage in a cup of coffee and then eating it. Should we call it a soggy dog? Well, I guess we're just back at it then. We're back from the break, everybody. Also, welcome to Talking Rad episode 177.
So much for you guys knowing about my sweats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Cole did this
I'm wearing
whole
sweats.
yeah, he did this whole
Yeah.
thing where he's got sweats.
I got my cock out. I mean, shoot. This isn't a Patreon episode.
Yeah.
I just instantly went into the mindset of we're doing a Patreon episode because I don't have the
Yeah.
camera
Yeah,
on.
the camera.
Please. There you go, Sky. Use
Can't
that.
say can't
Use
say
that to fix
F's.
Use that. Guys, imagine that you heard that bleep noise that I did when I said the C word. Imagine that.
Wait, is that a bad word? Is that
I don't
like
know if
frowned upon?
It's not that bad, but I want YouTube to get mad at me.
Yeah.
I don't think YouTube will.
I mean, hey, referencing a rooster, you wanted to see my cock, right?
There goes the episode's monetization.
onomatopoeia.
Onomatization.
So- What I wanted to transition from was Thane talking about reboots or whatever you were saying. Makes
Milking
of stuff.
nostalgia.
Yeah, sure, milking nostalgia. So I feel like that's a very common thing, especially with video games that we've seen probably in the last decade of companies re-releasing games, whether it's literally just a direct port or a remake.
Oh, Resident Evil 4, baby.
But my question to you guys is, do you think we're at the end of like this generation of remakes? Do you feel like games that are getting remade for this generation will not get remade again for future generations because the quality is very peak right now?
Last of Us Part 1. I rest my case.
yeah,
That's what
I
I'm
don't
saying,
know.
though. Do you think they're going to redo that ever again
they
in the
can make-
future?
Probably.
They can make graphics better. I think at the point, I don't think we're going to see full-scale remakes. We'll probably just see really good remasters.
Like upscales?
Yeah, upscales, because games have gotten so real.
We
that-
definitely will be seeing remakes until the end of time. Almost guaranteed.
Yeah, we'll see remakes of like freaking an old NES game or
No,
something.
we'll see The Last of Us being remade again in 10, 20 years, I bet. That's my theory. Mostly because of technology. I mean, it may not look better, but it'll run better. It'll perform better, it'll play better, and all these other things.
See, I just prefer
Plus
the
money.
I just prefer a re-release, but
Sure you do, but
yeah.
I don't like playing old games.
I mean, but Last of Us isn't even that old, and it
So?
plays just the part 1 plays just the
So?
same as the PS3 version.
No, it doesn't. It plays like Last of Us Part 2.
Whatever, close enough.
I'd rather play Last of Us Part 2 than Last of Us 1 PS3.
Whatever.
I
It's the
don't think
same
I would. I
game.
like the story from the first one better. And I think the gameplay's very mediocre as is.
Sure, but I'd rather play better gameplay. So if I play Last of Us Part 1, the remake that just barely came out, that'd be fine.
Oh, yeah, I'd rather play that than Last of Us PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's essentially what I'm getting at.
I'd rather play Last of Us PS3 than Last of Us 2 again, though. I don't really like the Last of Us gameplay. I like the story.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, at that point, I guess just watch the movie and then
Yeah.
the TV show.
And we have that luxury,
Yeah.
baby.
We have that luxury now. It's good.
Um,
It wasn't a dookie. We won.
Yeah.
Everybody, we won.
they'll just keep milking the pumping out remakes until people stop buying them.
I could say them not doing remakes of games like A Link's Awakening ever again. I feel like that's kind of done. But
Yeah.
I can see them porting that one. But when it
Yeah.
comes to like more real, quote unquote, realistic styled games like The Last of Us, I imagine we're going to be seeing that to the end of time.
There's a freaking rumor that they're gonna remake Horizon Zero Dawn for PS5. It's
I believe it.
Why? We don't need it.
I agree. We don't need it, but I believe
It's
it.
dumb. I think like
Sure.
how they remake games that new, like that are still kind of fresh.
I
But
wouldn't say it's fresh. Horizon Zero Dawn plays like is like it's.
it's just it's a generation.
It feels
back.
like an Xbox 360 PS3 game.
Well, so my question for you guys, then my follow-up question is for, like, how much time in between the initial release do you think we get a remake?
10 years
like a
for a
decade?
remake.
Because
I'd say remaster 5, remake 10.
Because I think Last of Us has been 10, has
Yeah.
it not? Resident Evil 4 has been well over 10.
Yeah.
Almost 20, actually. That's crazy.
Most Pokemon games that get remakes roughly around 10 years.
Yeah.
Thane, do you remember when Resident Evil 1 came out and then the remake? I don't think it was 10 years in between.
It was like.
Maybe it was.
But that's because at that time, like, the graphical leap between consoles
Yeah.
was drastically way different. Like, you look at GameCube graphics compared to PS1 graphics.
You're heavily focusing on graphical clarity, I think. I don't think
And
that's what needs to be
gameplay, and
focused.
also
I think
gameplay, yeah.
gameplay should be the
Yeah.
focus on what
Also,
needs a remake
they're
or not.
like, it's easier to manipulate 3D spaces on those consoles. They're able do more with 3D spaces.
Like,
They're
for
more
example,
powerful consoles.
I would be fine playing Final Fantasy VII looking the way it does, even though it looks kind of dumb, if it played like a modern game. So I don't think the graphics are that big of a deal.
See-
Especially now when they're so realistic and there's not a lot to improve on, save for maybe lighting and such.
See, and I think that's what most people, myself included, first think of when they think of a remake. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, it looks better. I mean, obviously that's what you see.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, you're not wrong. I think that the perks of a remake or a remaster is that it plays better. Like, I will never play Resident Evil 1, the original, just because I don't like tank controls and it's old. Plus, the remake is so much better. It just makes everything so much
What
better.
are other remakes?
Well, if you played it back on the GameCube, it has tank controls and you can't do anything about it.
Is Ocarina of Time 3D a remake?
Uh,
Because I would never play N64 if I got Ocarina of Time 3D.
I don't
It's
know.
better.
That's a good question.
It's far better.
Yeah.
Majora's Mask
because
is
it
a
plays better.
Majora's
Literally
Mask
because the
is a
bottom
remake.
screen. That's what makes
Yeah.
it better, though, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah,
And that's a
that's-
gameplay thing.
Absolutely.
Sure, it looks better, but like the fact that it plays better, that's what does it for me, really.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's Majora's Mask, where like
I'd still play that over the N64 game any day of the week, even with the stuff that wasn't as good.
That freaking
Yeah.
C-stick is so clutch, dude.
The bottom screen is the most clutchest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I never played them.
I beat Ocarina of Time 3D. I never beat Majora's Mask 3D.
Yeah.
But I got farther in Majora's Mask 3D than I ever did on the N64 version of the game.
Yeah, those are, to me anyway, those are both the definitive way to play both those games is on the 3DS. Although you've got the purists that are like, no, they ruined Majora's Mask. I understand where their complaints are coming from, but overall, dude, it's so much more convenient, and the quality of life that they added to having the bottom screen and the C-stick is just infinitely better.
What's another remake? Because we've kind of just like stuck to like Zelda and Resident Evil. My brain's really just blanking over
I mean,
here.
the Dead Space remake, they made the gameplay a lot better, I've heard.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever
There
played
you
it.
go. There's one.
Metroid Prime, people are still
Yeah.
cockfighting about if it's a remaster or remake.
It's a remaster. They just took all the games and touched up the graphics. The
I
exact
disagree.
Same game.
I think it's a remake.
Really?
Having never played both of these games, comparing them side by side, I think it's a remake.
I don't know. That just looks like a remaster to me.
Does
Like,
it play differently, though?
You can play the old style, but they also added a new control scheme, which they did for the Wii version too.
There's
so,
3 different control schemes. There's the original GameCube style control. There's the motion controls, and then there's the quote unquote classic 2-stick controls. The reason why I say it's a remake is not just because it looks better, but like they've clearly changed out the models. They don't have the same polygons that they did back in the day. They have better models than they did back in the day. There's better like foliage, for example. They added much more terrain to the game than there ever was.
But
I would call it a remake. I would call this one a remake.
yeah, but it's the exact. I mean, it's the exact same game, like down to like.
Well, then, is Ocarina of Time 3D a remake?
I
Because that's the exact same game.
yeah, I'd probably just consider that a remaster.
I wouldn't. I would call that a remake as well. I think when it comes down to it, even if it looks and plays pretty dang close and close to exactly the same, if they built it from the ground up, it's a remake. And Metroid Prime Remastered was built from the ground up, you can tell. And I'm pretty sure they confirmed that somewhere.
See, I've heard opposite. I heard it was not built from the ground up.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm
I've
curious
not looked
now.
into it that much personally because I'm not that invested as you guys are.
Well,
So
you're
maybe you
very,
guys know more than
you're
me.
very confident with your argument.
Just the remake to remaster. I don't know if it was actually
Yeah.
built from the ground up. That's not what I'm confident about. I'm confident that it's that I consider it a remake. Granted, that's just subjective at that point. I'm confident that my opinion is what I think.
See, and this to me is also in the same vein as like, or it could be in the similar conversation as when people are trying to call something an open world game or not. Kind of similar, where it's like now we're just talking about specifics.
Overworld game.
Open world.
Open world. Sorry.
I mean, RPGs were overworld games. If you catch my drift.
I catch it.
Catch these
See, I don't
hands.
know. It's labeled as obviously it's labeled as a remaster, but I personally, from what I've seen, I think it's more akin to a remake. But I don't know. I mean, a lot of people that I've watched, like gaming podcasts, they all say the same thing. They're like, this looks more like a remake than a remaster, but I don't understand why it's an argument for people, though. Not saying you
'Cause
guys
it's
are.
fun.
Well, I'm not saying you guys are arguing about it, but there's like a lot of people that are literally going for blood wars out here, arguing whether it's a remaster or a remake.
It's because people like myself like to argue about things that
Yeah.
don't matter.
Now you take Resident Evil 4 PC port. That's a remaster. Not very good remaster since it looks kind of ugly with all those touched up textures, which is what the HD mod is doing. They're like they're pretty much touching up everything, and they even got textures. They took Capcom when they were developing actually took pictures of World War textures, and the people who are developing the HD mod, they actually went to those locations. They were taking pictures and putting them in the.
So they're remastering a remastered game.
Yeah.
Not Resident Evil. Final Fantasy VII. We talked a little bit about that. That's a full-on remake.
That is the best example of what a remake actually is.
That's
Yep.
pretty much like a reimagining.
No, I would
almost.
call it a remake. That's the best example of what a remake, quote unquote,
Well,
I think it
should be.
Your
Well,
guys'
not going into
definitions, I think, are
spoilers,
the
it
same
is a
thing. It changes a
reimagining.
lot from
Oh,
what
yeah,
I've seen.
sure.
So you could call
Yeah.
it a reimagining too. Like it's
Reimagining. I don't think you need to add. I don't think you need to make a new
Yeah.
word. I think there's
Yeah.
only 3 words. I think there's reboot, remake, and remaster. I don't think there's anything else you should add into this argument because then it becomes too confusing from where it already is.
I'm with you there. I guess in my head, what I'm saying is those are the same words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake is the in my opinion the prime example of what a remake actually is.
I think Resident Evil 2 is.
Resident
Yeah,
Evil
Resident
2
Evil 2.
is
Yeah.
another one of those
Well-
perfect examples of what a remake actually
I never
is.
played the original Resident Evil 2. I know.
You did, didn't you, Skylar?
No,
Mm.
I've never played either. I've only
Yeah.
watched Thane play the remake.
Oh.
Resident Evil 2 remake is great, but then playing the demo of Resident Evil 4 remake and playing a lot of the classic, I can tell you that is a good remake. That is how
Well,
you remake
I
a
played
game.
the Pac-Man remake, the Pac-Man World remake.
Is it a
Yeah.
remake? I think that was a remaster though. I don't know.
I'll have
No,
to look
that's
it up. I
a
mean,
remake.
I've never played the first
Oh,
one.
excuse me. It was a repack.
Yeah, it was a repack.
repacked.
I've never played the first
Then
one.
again, what's DuckTales remastered? They say remastered.
I would say that's a remake.
Yeah, that's
They call it
that's-
remaster, but I would call that
Yeah.
a remake.
because they not only did they pretty much just recreate.
Oh,
every
they built it
asset,
from the ground up.
Yeah, and they also added cutscenes.
Yeah, this
in
one's
between.
classified as a remake.
Really?
Yeah.
It
Pac-Man?
says a remake developed by Now Production.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how differently it plays from the first one.
I think it's so weird how those 3 words have been become like such a buzzword in gaming culture to the point where people that make games will label them as specific things to generate buzz about their product.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be an uninformed statement. I will say this right now. Without playing the original Pac-Man world, but comparing it to the one that you played, that looks like a remaster to me. And if they're marketing it as a remake, I feel like that's because they wanted to generate the buzz about it being a remake rather than a remaster.
Well, what clarifies as a remake then? Like literally building the game from a ground up?
Yep.
So I mean, we'd have to look into see
Sure.
if they did that.
Yeah, and they probably very well could have. That's probably why they called it that too. And it's interesting because, I mean, the word remake. I mean, it's in the word, right? You remake something, right? If you build it from the ground up, even if it is one for one the same, it's technically a remake. If you took all of the original assets for Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and then remade the game from the ground up and then used those same like assets, and it looks exactly the same, plays exactly the same, technically still a remake.
So is there like a fine line of how many assets you can use before it's not a remake anymore and it's more of a remaster?
Well, I mean, I think the code is what defines the remake to remaster.
Okay, so literally rewriting what the engine is running it
If
is.
you use the same assets but rewrote the entirety of the code, it would be a remake in my opinion. Nobody's going to do that because that's asinine.
Yeah.
But I feel like that would be the most bare bones obvious example. But if you just updated the assets and kept the code, then it's a remaster.
Well, then those two, I think you're right. I think the two best, like, baseline, this is what a remake is Resident Evil 7. Whoa, Resident Evil 2 and Final Fantasy 7.
So then, now we get to another question. How far does a remaster have to go before it's no longer a remaster, now it's a remake? You got things like Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. I would call that a remaster. They used the base code, but they changed stuff. They added some things, and they took away some things.
It's kind of like Persona 5 Royale when they took the same game.
Is that a remake or a remaster?
I'd say that's more like an expanded re-release. I wouldn't consider it a category.
A Game of the Year edition, if you will.
Game of the Year edition, but you in order to play the DLC, you have to buy the game all over.
let's piggyback off that. Pokemon Sapphire, Ruby and Sapphire to Pokemon Emerald.
I'd say that's a re-release.
If that's a re-release, then I would say Persona 5 Royal is a re-release.
Yeah. It's technically a re-release because even though they add new content, it's still the exact same game.
So, because Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD looks better, is it now a remaster and not a re-release?
It's a good question.
Did they
Because
add
I would
stuff?
argue
It's
the changes from Wind Waker GameCube to Wind Waker Wii U are the equivalent of changes from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire to Pokemon Emerald or Persona 5 to Persona 5 Royal.
Did they add, like, DLC stuff for Wind Waker?
No, they just fixed things and made it a better game. As if you would
Did they
do with
add
a
a whole
patch or a
dungeon,
DLC.
though?
No, they didn't add anything.
Oh. In I remember Twilight Princess HD, they reduced the number of little bugs you had to snatch up.
In Wind Waker, they fixed they streamlined the Triforce quest.
Yeah.
So maybe going back to the talking about open worlds where there's not really a clear-cut definition, maybe there should be one with remakes, remasters, and reboots.
That's why I think the argument exists to begin with, because I feel like there should be a clear-cut answer.
Well, how I'm basing it off of anyway then, in my brain, is I will compare things now to Final Fantasy VII Remake and Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Yep.
Because those are like the two most prolific examples of what a remake is.
You see, and that's just the issue, though, because, like, I don't, like, as good of a baseline as those games are, even in my opinion, what about Ocarina of Time 3D? You know? I would call that a remake.
Yeah.
I feel like they built that game from the ground up.
So then maybe that's what it is, though. If you build a
Maybe
game
just
from
build
the
it from the
ground
ground
up,
up.
then that is
Yeah.
considered a remake. And if you're...
See, the issue with that, though, it's funny, there's problems with it all.
Yeah.
The issue with that is most of these companies aren't going to tell us if they built it from the ground up. They're not going to, like, why would they ever bother to
Kind of
even
like
say
with
anything?
Silent Hill HD, where they lost the source code and literally the development team had to literally build it from the ground up from like some emulate, some like ripped code from a PS2 copy.
But wasn't that edition, like, infinitely worse? Everybody hated it?
Yeah, because they couldn't remake everything like with the time given. Like they literally didn't have the talent to remake games like that.
Crunch was going
Yeah.
on.
And instead of just like firing up an emulator and like putting mods in it and then trying to like oversource it to have a cop, which I don't know if you even can do. I'm not an expert, but someone probably figured out how to do it. Someone made Mario run standalone without an emulator on a PC, so they could probably do it for Silent Hill 2. They didn't, and instead just tried to remake everything. Which, I don't think there's anything wrong with just taking an emulator and re-releasing a game through it. But actually that's what Killer 7 was. But people just found out that they just used a Dolphin emulator for the trailer.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said earlier, Cole, about most people focusing on the graphics for a remake instead of the actual gameplay. I'm definitely in the camp that you're in. I would much rather have my remake with better gameplay than better graphics, because I can stomach bad graphics as long as the gameplay is really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not even that they're bad graphics; they're just old.
There's some games with like indie games with like terrible graphics. Like, I wouldn't say Undertale is terrible graphics, but they're kind of inconsistent. Like, have colorful sprites in the overworld, but then when you get to the battles, it's like all weird, this weird black and white look to it. But people love the game because of the writing. And then also, I heard Slay the Spire, like, I guess it has this like cheap Flash look, like what you see from like an early Flash game. But people say that game's like super addicting. So, Binding of Isaac is one of the grossest games ever made. Like, it's revolting, purposefully revolting, but people can't get enough. Like, the gameplay loop is addicting.
So, looping all the way back to Metroid Prime, and I won't say that this source is very credible at all. It is from essentiallysports.com. I can't find any, what are they called, references?
To cite
I can't find any citations for where they got this information, but they say the biggest reason for this remaster's success is that the game is made from the ground up. Textures, models, everything has been rebuilt in HD, and this effort really makes the game shine. Like I said, though, I can't find the citations for that.
See, then I would consider that a remake at that point.
But, like I said, it's from essentiallysports.com. I don't know if that's a trustworthy source.
It's true. I think it would be... Either way, they definitely used the original source. They probably had the original source code and used that as a blueprint. Which, man, I don't know if they're doing it just to like get inspiration for Metroid Prime 4, but where is it? I want it.
And I guess to kind of wrap up the conversation, when it comes down to it,
okay, hold on. I found a developer tweet. Says the Metroid Prime core gameplay code in Metroid Prime Remastered is essentially unchanged. It's a remaster, not a remake.
Wow, so the developer
this isn't a developer though. Who is this? There's some dude from Chicago, Illinois that says... Oh, he says he makes video games.
Okay.
Maybe it is the developer. I don't freaking know. Twitter's a weird place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess when it comes down to it, like... For me personally, I don't care whether it's a remake, remaster, or reboot.
As long as it plays good.
Yeah, as long as it plays good, then I like the gameplay's updated. And I haven't played it yet, but I don't know if I want to, just from the very divisive opinions you both have on it. Something like Shadow of the Colossus, where they did a remake, or is it a remaster?
I'd say it's a remake.
So, and they didn't update the controls, or did they?
They did, yes, they did.
But they're still bad. Is that what I've heard?
I don't think
they're
bad.
What?
Shadow of the Colossus. The controls.
I don't think they're bad.
I think they're bad.
I heard they're really clunky.
Yeah. I didn't have fun with them.
But is that the intention though?
For being a game released when it was released, I don't think it plays as good as it should have. As a remake.
So, well, my question is, do they make the controls as wonky as they do to kind of mimic the fact that you're climbing on giant titans?
I think they made the controls as long as they did because it was released in 2000 insert number there. 2003 or
so
whatever.
They just didn't update the controls.
They just didn't know. 2007. They just didn't know how to make games that like with two sticks even at that point very well. Like it was they had to deal with climbing around on giant monsters and deal with them trying to shake you off. I don't think they really knew how to make a physics engine that worked with the controls, and they didn't bother to try to change it that much. They changed it ever so slightly, like the control scheme's a little bit different, but I didn't feel very in control of my character as much as I felt like I should have. That's my statement on that.
Yeah. I still love the game. I think it's great. I think it's
And that's fine. You can love it. You're
Yeah.
allowed to. That's one of the nice things about
But I do
opinions.
remember you did say to me, you, and I remember this, like, I can't convince you that Shadow of the Colossus is a bad game because you have nostalgia for it.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I still
And-
agree with that statement. I think most people
And-
that have nostalgia
And
for
that's
things
kind
can't
of
be
a
convinced
crappy
if
thing
it's bad
for
or
you
good.
to say, saying, hey, I want to try to convince you this is a bad game. And you're like, no, bro, screw you.
That's just how I am. I like to try to convince people of my opinions. If you don't want to change, that's fine. You don't have to change. That's literally like the best part about it.
And
I just love to try to get people on my side with things. That's just how I am personally.
that's the problem. People figure that out. They're going to, some people like me are probably want to be against your side. It's like, oh, you're trying.
That's fine. You can be against my side
Yeah.
too. I also like the argument.
Yeah.
You should know that by
Yeah.
now, knowing how long you guys have lived with
Yeah.
me. I like the argument side of
Yeah.
it. I enjoy arguing points about things that don't matter.
Yeah.
Because why would I want to argue about things that matter and actually ruin friendships when I could argue about things that don't matter and still enjoy arguing with
Good
things
thing we're
with my friends?
not into politics.
Well,
as
I
deep.
feel like we've evolved too, just like our relationships in general, to where when we first moved in with each other, I feel like we were very easy to start yelling at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I feel like we're all more mature. I mean, 4 years have gone by now. 4 or 5 years. Is it 5 years? 4 years?
5 years, I think. 5. I guess when it comes down to that statement that I said, yeah, it's a douchey statement. No doubt about
Yeah.
that. Absolute asshole move from me.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. I still stand by it, though. 100% still stand by it. Most people won't be changed on their opinions because of nostalgia. And I think the reason why I have that statement is because as someone who has been able to get over my opinions on things from nostalgia, it's almost liberating. Like the day I realized how bad Pokemon games actually are, how bad like most of the games I liked as a kid are, it was like, oh freak, man, the stuff I like isn't that great. Why do I like them? Then I kind of went into there and tried to figure out why I actually like these things.
I'm with you on that. Like, it does feel liberating because a lot of games I like are just hot garbage. I grew up in the early 2000s when video games was still more akin to toys than its own industry.
In that transition phase, transition phase from D-pads to joysticks, it literally took them up until like 2010 to really understand how to control characters. Like, going back and playing Halo 3 2007, not bad. Halo 3, Halo 2, still not bad. Halo 1, it's a little rough. But
It
they
depends
still
on
are
what
okay.
version you're playing.
See, I disagree. I feel like they nailed it with Halo 1. Granted,
think?
it's definitely evolved and gotten better over the years.
Totally.
But you could go play Halo 1 any day of the week. Give somebody a controller nowadays. Give my little brother, who I don't even know if he's ever played Halo 1, give him a controller. He could play through Halo 1 with ease.
And that's why that control seems stuck.
Yeah.
That's why that's the control scheme we still use today, and it's built upon.
Honestly, we've seen that 2010, but I think 2007 with Call of Duty 4. That was 2007.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Call of Duty 4 is pretty dang smooth.
They pretty much took a control scheme, and I swear to God, that control scheme was used in every shooter.
Well, like, that's just Halo's control
Yeah.
scheme again, though, right?
Yeah.
And like going back to Halo 1, like while it does control well, think about the parts that doesn't control well, like the Warthog, for example. Driving that thing is a monster. That's not fun at all. It's fun to try to like jam it into things for fun, but actually driving it as intended is less fun than doing that. Just the floatiness of Halo 1, like obviously that's the point of Halo is floaty, but Halo 1 has the extra floatiness to it. The turning isn't as fast even when you crank the sensitivity high. Playing on a mouse and keyboard kind of fixes most of those issues, but we're not talking about a mouse and keyboard. We're talking about using the dual control stick. But yeah, like I said, you get to Halo 3, And that's probably about which is 2007, so Call of Duty 4 as well by proxy. Around then is basically when they figured it out for first person. Shadow of the Colossus was a third person game. I think Gears of War was one of the first to really understand how to do third person. That felt good for shooters, I guess. I mean, if we're talking like
wasn't GTA pretty good, or was it rough?
I don't think GTA is good. I think it's really rough. If we're talking just third-person camera-controlled games in general, we go all the way back to Mario 64, which essentially was the precedence. But, I mean, I'd rather play Mario Galaxy. I'd rather play Mario Odyssey than that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Just because it feels smoother. So, obviously, they have something in place, and it goes forward. Shadow of the Colossus was something different. It was trying to be the platformer, but with extra things onto it. And that's why I think they had issue with the controls. And my issue with the remaster or remake or whatever it was is they didn't really try to change it that much. They just wanted to keep the experience as it was essentially back then. Game looks phenomenal. It's one of the prettiest looking games you can ever play. My God, is it hard to control. I hate it so bad. Hate it, hate it, hate it.
See, and that right there can ruin experiences for me. Obviously, I just need to give it a shot. And
I think you'll enjoy
it.
Is. It's an enjoyable game, no doubt about that. It wasn't really... I mean, I had issues all throughout, but it wasn't until the final boss when I really just started, hating that game. The first boss is very well done. I feel like that's where they spent most of their time, was designing that first boss and the controls for that first boss. Very fun. The next couple bosses after that, it's about the time when you get the boss that flies around that you start going, okay, I don't know about this. And then
that was one of the better bosses.
It's cool, effing cool. The set piece is amazing, but the actual fight is rough. It's hard to get onto it and stick it, but when you're on it, it's super easy because the platform you're on is huge.
I think it's that the early moment of how do I get this? But when it clicks, when you click and you jump on it, you're like, wow.
Yeah, but then it's easy because you have this giant field to run around on.
Yeah, but I like that moment where you're like, oh,
okay,
nice.
So then they have the sand boss. The sand boss, in my opinion, suffers with a similar issue as the flying boss, where it takes a while to understand what you got to do. Once you get the puzzle down, it's not that hard, but it's a waiting game at that point. And then the water boss, I think that one was one of the first ones that I think I had the most difficulties with the controls. And then the very final boss, where they try to kind of incorporate most of the stuff that you kind of learned throughout, that's what did me in. 100% that's what did me in. Specifically, the platforming on places that you didn't normally platform on in all the previous bosses. They don't really teach you to use the boss as a platforming piece until the final boss. And I felt like there was a bit of a learning gap.
I see.
Granted, you could have used those ideas earlier on, but I just didn't because they didn't really make me do it. Overall, the game isn't a terrible game. I hate it, no doubt about that. I absolutely hate that game. Very pretty, though. Story's pretty interesting, too.
That's cool.
Well, you can leave all your death threats down in the comments, all you Shadow of the Colossus fans.
Bring them on.
Yeah. Here's one. I'm just kidding.
No, I don't know. I think I'm definitely with you, though, Cole, in the camp of once you are willing to see things that you like are objectively bad, it is very liberating. Not saying that...
Yeah, I think Shadow of the Colossus, me saying that's objectively bad is a hot take. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
I think that definitely is. You play the PS2 version, I feel like that one actually is objectively bad. I think the subtle changes they did do to the PS4 version kind of help it in a way. But even still, I personally think it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly just because of the controls. Also, riding around on the horse kind of sucks too. It's got a mind of its own. That's its own issue, though, in my opinion.
Well, that's kind of like a real horse.
You could control a horse better than that video game horse. I rode horses in real life. It's not that hard. It was harder to ride that horse in Shadow of the Colossus than it was to ride a horse in a real game. Yeah, but you shouldn't have to get used to it. It should be an Ocarina of Time horse. It's like
riding a real horse.
They had Ocarina of Time horse in 1998.
We see that's...
It's not just like a real horse. Real horses are easier.
Well, when you haven't broken them.
Oh my gosh, he's your effing pet. You have him from the beginning of the game. That's not a have you broken him issue.
You know what we should do? Because I'm just curious. I think we should do this thought experiment just because I feel like it's been a long-running meme since we've lived together and been friends and business partners, is we should have Thane stream Shadow of the Colossus.
He did! He effing did, and he complained about it too!
Wait, no, I want to be there, though.
Yo, you weren't there for that?
No.
I watched him fight the final boss. It took him about an hour and a half. So he beat it in half the time that I took.
Performance anxiety.
No,
But he was also complaining
So,
too.
You know how we were doing those once a year streams or once a month streams
Yeah,
where we did all day?
Yeah.
I think we should do that one more stream before we leave this place. We should do Thane plays Shadow of the Colossus. I feel like that would be just a great cherry on top for living here, and we can finally put this argument to rest or put it to bed. Because I'm curious. I want to see. I think it would be hilarious.
It's like you must not have been there, but in Discord he did play it and he streamed it to the Discord group. And I watched him fight the final boss, and he had very similar complaints to I did.
I mean, I still like the game.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying you don't have to like the game.
Yeah, sure. And at that point though, like, would you ever be willing to concede
also the
that?
part where you said it took you forever to figure out, I figured that out instantly. It's the part where I had to shoot the arrow in the head, which made me feel like a dummy. It's like, of course they want you to use the bow at the end right there.
So my question for you though, Thane, is would you ever be willing to concede the fact that the controls aren't very good?
I would say that
Because I think both things can exist. I think you can have a great game with bad controls. Obviously, for somebody like Cole and myself included, a great game with bad controls isn't a great game.
I think it's kind of like if you like the game, but you realize the controls aren't perfect. I think you just like the game.
That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what I'm
He
saying.
said, "Can you concede that the controls are bad?"
No. I don't mind them, okay? When you get used to them, you get used to them, and they make sense. It's just like, it's kind of like you just got to learn them.
Maybe
I'm not gonna say anything.
Maybe
I'm done.
I should be the one that streams it.
You could try it out, Sky. See what you think.
Because I am curious. And I've played a lot of bad games. I've played a lot of Sonic games. Those control horribly.
I just felt like you figure out the controls and the final boss threw everything on its head. Like you had basically zero control over where the camera was going. It was hard to control your character because you were dealing with him flinging you around and stuff.
And I feel like, and I don't know, maybe, like I was saying, maybe that's kind of the feel they're going for because you're on a giant monster.
Sure.
But I'm also with you. I'm in the camp of, I'm playing a video game. I always want to feel like I'm in control.
Yeah.
And if I'm screwing up, it's on my own accord and not because the controls are bad or the game is being dumb. I don't like that. I played Sonic 06. I don't like that. Not saying Shadow of the Colossus is equal to Sonic 06, but
How fucking dare
you
you?
get the idea. You know what I'm talking about, okay? But I think that would be fun. I think that would be a fun final hurrah.
It's a long game. It's like 10 hours.
Then maybe
Yeah.
we'll just stream a little bit of it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I could probably, after an hour or two, I could probably decide if I like the controls or not at that point.
But the final boss is the big decider.
Okay, then we'll just do an all-day stream like we did.
They actually had a save file on the final boss. It was great.
Actually, yeah, you could pick any boss.
Oh,
I would
you
say
can pick
you
any
could pick
boss.
any boss and do like a time trial thing.
I feel like if we're just going to play it, though, and do a stream, may as well just do it from the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Just, we'll get up at, we'll just do our freaking, 8 to whatever. Get up at 8 a.m., stream, eat some lunch, just make an event out of it.
Just cry the whole time.
Maybe we'll just take turns and you can, when you fall off, you pass the controller. Do you fall off a lot?
All the time. That's the
okay.
point of the game, is falling off.
It's trial and error, baby.
Just stamina system where you're holding on to the guy and he's like shaking you off, and as long as you're holding on to the hair, the stamina thingy goes down and down and down and down, and you have to let go and steady yourself to your stamina to build back up. It builds up pretty quickly, but by the time you let go, you typically get flung off.
Well, let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I look at the camera, but all I see is a wall.
That's why you grab the lizards. Yeah, you can grab lizards and increase your grip strength.
What's a lizard?
It's where you look at it, they're kind of hard to hit. They're not or you can just shoot it with your bow and you grab the tail and it increases your grip strength.
Where are they?
All around the world. You just got to look out for them.
What the freak? Why didn't I didn't know about that.
So is there a
Yeah, they
mechanic
never
of the
really
game that you missed out on? So
I must
Yeah.
have.
you were just playing in hard
There's
mode.
also
then.
apples you can collect through trees that increase your health.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you didn't know
I don't know any of this. Nobody told me
Actually,
any of this.
I learned that when first playing back in my Wii Lad days, and I saw it increases your grip strength. If I find more of these, I'll become grippier.
Never told this.
Yeah.
The game didn't tell you this.
Yeah,
Bad
because
game.
You kind
Bad
of learn.
game. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys have
Hey,
enjoyed.
this is the first time Cole's had bad takes.
Oh.
Wait, what? I think Colt had plenty of bad
Hey,
takes.
whoa, F you, Sky. My takes are great. Keep it rad, everybody.
He hates Mario.
That's a great take.